Greetings, Love Posse. Today I thought we would tap to let go of, reduce, or release fear. So much is happening here in the United States with the coup, Trump, and Elon Musk, people being fired, laid off from their jobs, people experiencing fear because of the lack of food assistance, maybe governmental assistance in terms of losing Medicaid or Medicare, whatever it may be. Fear around the world because of what's happening in terms of this shift, this dismantling, this collapsing of democracy and the rise of revolution. So first, quick rundown. Fear. Fear is either rational, real, or irrational, imagined. Rational fear, something where you're experiencing immediate, imminent danger. Walking down the street, there's a loose pit bull. Imminent, immediate danger. What do? I think in this time also there is a real fear of getting an email if you are a federal worker that you no longer have a job. You've been fired or you've been laid off. The loss of governmental assistance in terms of food and Social Security. Real fears, rational fears. Then there are the irrational fears, the imagined fears. Thought and memory. You're having a thought. You're remembering something in the past that caused you to be frightened or scared, and you're thinking this may happen again in the future, which is anxiety. But at the time, you're having a fear about something that's not happening now, that could happen. So what happens? The mind gives a signal to the body that danger, that you are in danger, that something is about to happen and you must protect yourself. The body releases the stress hormone, cortisol. You feel unsafe. You're feeling fragile. You're feeling disconnected from our Creator. You go into fight, flight, or freeze. That's fear. So let's tap on it. So before we begin tapping, this is the setup statement. Even though I have this fear about whatever you have the fear about, I'm just going to say about because I don't have a fear. So whatever the fear is that you are experiencing in your life, that specific fear, you say it when I say about. I choose to let this fear go. Even though I have this fear about, I choose to let this fear go. Whatever you are experiencing, whatever fear you are experiencing, think about it. Rate the level of intensity of that fear from 0 to 10. Or, this is what I do. I think about the fear. I feel the energy in my body before I begin tapping. Next, at the end of the tapping round or rounds, because I'll likely do 2 or 3 rounds, we're going to take 3 deep breaths. Then you will rate your level of intensity again from 0 to 10 to see if that fear has been reduced Or, as I will do, I will go into the body and see if whatever I was experiencing has changed. Remember, after the tapping session, you watch this video, drink some water so that you can release whatever toxins were loosened during the tapping session. So let's begin. Begin tapping the karate chop point. I'm left-handed. I will tap on my right hand, which is my non-dominant hand, which is EFT training. But as I tell everyone, the body and the mind has no idea about rules or training. Tap on either hand. Do what feels best for you. Always, always, always do what feels best for you. So let's begin. Even though I have this fear about, I choose to let this fear go. Even though I have this fear about, I choose to let this fear go. Even though I have this fear about, I choose to let this fear go. I have this fear. I have this fear. I choose to let this fear go. I have this fear. I have this fear. I choose to let this fear go. I have this fear about. I choose to let this fear go. I have this fear about. I choose to let this fear go. I have this fear about. I choose to let this fear go. I have this fear. I have this fear. I choose to let this fear go. I have this fear about. I choose to let this fear go. I have this fear. I have this fear. I choose to let this fear go. I have this fear about. I choose to let this fear go. I have this fear about. I choose to let this fear go. I let this fear go from my physical body. I let this fear go from my mental body. I let this fear go from my etheric body. I let this fear go from my spiritual body. I release this fear from my past, present, future, all one. I release this fear. I choose to let this fear go. Take 3 deep breaths, breathing through your nose. I don't breathe out through my mouth anymore, but you can. Do what feels best for you. Another deep breath. The 3rd deep breath. Remember to, feels so good, feels so good. Remember to rate from 0 to 10 the level of intensity, how much the fear reduced. Or, as I do, go into my body, I feel it immediately, calm, and it feels delicious, it feels good. Please remember to drink some water. Please remember to breathe, to stay in the present moment, to know wherever you are in the world, whatever you are experiencing, you can always tap that. You can always come back to this video and tap with me. You can also take walks in nature. You can journal. You can go to your happy place. Whatever you do, face the fear. Face it. It will not go away. It will build and build. Face the fear. You have the ability to respond. Last thing. First book I wrote is Tap That. In this book, in chapter 5, it's titled, You Told Harpo to Beat Me. Yes, it's from a line in the color purple. That chapter, chapter 5, is about fear and anger. If you are interested in purchasing one of my tapping books, look in the description. Also, I'm offering tapping coaching, 30-minute sessions for $50. If you're interested, look in the description. Email me, schedule an appointment. Remember, for whatever ails you, just tap that. Thank you for your time. Peace and love to and for all sentient beings.